Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 566.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
Hey guys, how are you doing? So, hopefully you guys can hear me and things are good. I totally started on the wrong camera today. Anyway, nonetheless, I'm glad that you guys are here. We will be doing calls again today. So let me pull that on the screen. For those of you who have got a question from in the world of short-term rentals, business, real estate, feel free to go ahead and dial 417-352-2274. Again, 417-352-2274. We'll do our best to get your call or questions answered. Now, I know there's a number of you in the Facebook group, which is great. Go ahead and start typing, and especially if you're in the student Facebook group, just go ahead and put your questions in the chat. For those of you watching on, Facebook, Periscope, or etc., or YouTube, you should be able to do the exact same thing, and we'll be able to see and capture your questions as well. So we're going to do our best to make sure that we we get all the questions answered. And I did see a number of questions inside of our Facebook group today that came in. So I will take a gander in there to make sure that we get those questions picked up and answered as well, because don't want to leave anybody's question behind. That's really that's just how it works around here. So we will do our best to make sure that everybody gets a shot and their questions answered. All right, let me get over to, I just realized I don't have the chat window up. 1 second. I can't see window comments. There we go. There it is. Found it. So it said, what is this? It says first time, and I just about to go to sleep. First time I see this in my first time living, so I'll see how long it takes before I fall asleep. Well, don't fall asleep, but if you have a question, go ahead and type it. David Patrick, thank you for the comments regarding the intro video. We absolutely do our best to keep things interesting around here and looking halfway decent as well. So for those of you who might be joining us for the first time, my name is Jay, and what I've been doing, I've been in the real estate world for more than a decade now. We've done all kinds of real estate transactions, from cell phone towers, commercial buildings, apartment buildings, raising capital, notes, mortgages, blah 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 blah. And we are focused on short-term rentals, period. That's the place we like to live, because we've seen a different result for not only ourselves, but also our students. And that's the goal, is to help everyone who dare try to become a bigger, better version of the entrepreneur that's within each and every one of us. So I see Peter is here today. Excellent. How are you, Peter? Susan is forwarding me a question from Keisha. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that. Keisha is saying, she says, I know the Q&A is today, but I am always on replay. Yes, we are on Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Pacific time. So depending on where you are in the world, this could be really late or really early. I have a person that is wanting to book through February, but it is different people from the same company. Okay. We have been dialoguing for 24 hours regards to time frame and what the unit offers for the price. So their initial inquiry was supposed to start September 5th, and since my dates are set on my new unit up to 9 days. That's what they booked for. However, they said they needed it until November 1st, and I actually have someone booked in the middle of the time frame they are needing. Okay, I think I understand what's going on. What is happening is it sounds like Keisha's in the middle of expanding. She managed to get a new unit, and it looks like she's got that new unit, and the reservations have started to roll in. But the very, very first reservation that she's getting is actually asking for a lot more time, and she's already got a reservation in that slot. And if you're new to short-term rentals, this is definitely something that is common. It happens a lot, especially when if you are not new to operating, so you've already been operating for a while and you're bringing on a new unit. What often happens is because your profile or you have a lot of, you just have more history with whatever OTA you're using. What ends up happening is that the OTA then promote that particular listing, and because the calendar is so wide open, someone who's actually looking for a 120, a 90, 180 day stay, usually business related, is going to be able to see your calendar, because most of the time those individuals go, dare I say, underserved, simply because, well, there's just too many. There's already reservations blocking up a lot of the calendar. So I think I understand what's going on here, but let's get to the rest of it. Let's see what they're wanting. She says her first question is do I offer the other guests to switch to a different unit so that I can accommodate the new guests that are wanting to stay longer? I can tell you unequivocally, Keisha, that's exactly what I would do. And if I would even do so, even if I did not have another unit to move the other guests to. So let me be really, really clear. The person who's wanting to stay longer, one of the things that I would do again in a heartbeat, when someone approaches and says, hey, I need 120 days, 160, 180, or something of that nature, they're going to be the reservation that I want. Okay, assuming the price is right and all that other stuff. Just because it's a long reservation doesn't necessarily make it good. And if I'm out of additional units in that particular area, and I know I have a reservation that I need to move, I am not opposed to building a brand new unit to accommodate the person that I moved. So I still want to help the person that I moved. So I'm not saying no, I'm just getting yet another unit to make sure that that's possible. So it says, personally, I do not want to have a guest cancel or switch if they book first. Totally understood. And I get that, Keisha, but I'm here to tell you, you want that long reservation. Now, the other way to look at this is asking, part of the challenge is it could be a revenue thing, but that's why I like taking, if I can get the booking that's longer, I can leverage that revenue for a completely new unit if need be. Second, I let the new guest inquiry know that I have additional unit at the same property that they are welcome to switch to for 1 week and then switch back to the other unit, and they are preferring the 2-bedroom over the 1-bedroom for the space, and we'll have a partner with them. Yeah, exactly. They're saying you're leading down the same road that I was thinking. At the moment, they seem to want to book with us, but are wanting to review everything with their boss and other colleagues. Yeah, that's normal. I have listed and break down everything we offer so that they know that the experience what the experience will be like for them, and I'm simply trying to seal the deal. This will look like different individuals from the same company booking this unit. I also adjusted my calendar for them to book up to 21 days, as I recall someone mentioning about 30 days. Thoughts and temps. Okay, got it. You just want to know how to get the deal. Got it. So Keisha, here's the biggest thing. I want to get all of the days, and I would like to get as much, if not all of it, paid up front. That's what I want for you. Now, I don't know how much of our system you already have in place, okay? So there are other tools that you can leverage if you have our entire system in place. And here's a very, very simple one. So, for example, if you already have your internet set up such that you have 2-tier internet, you've got your free level, and then you have your advanced or business class, whatever you call it, I would begin to let them know that, hey, because they're clearly here for work. So let them know that those 2 tiers are there, and as an incentive for your stay, here's what we will do. We will include our 2nd tier, which would normally be this number, at no cost. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, by the way, these are all things that I've done and I'm trying to that I'm sharing with you because I know they work. Second, you said there's a 2-bedroom. So with the 2-bedroom, I'm assuming you have 2 parking spaces. Assuming you haven't already told them that there are 2 parking spaces, I'm assuming, if you're following the system, you told them that you have 1 and you have a second available for purchase. So now, maybe include that second parking space as an additional incentive for them booking. Next, there was one time where one of these happened, and for whatever reason, they wanted stars, the network stars, and it's not normally a part of our YouTube TV package, but all I had to do was go pay $5. So I'm like, okay, sure, we'll add stars, and that totally worked. And then what is there was one more I was thinking. Oh, and this one it's a recent run. Here's a free one. Love it. It's something that I've been calling an instant book special. Here's what that means. An instant book special means no further discounts of any kind. So you are purchasing at our published rates. And depending on the length of stay, you get something for free. So for a stay like the ones you're talking about right here, we give away a 50-inch 4K HD TV exactly like the ones that are in the unit. That's literally how we sell it. That's what we tell them. 50-inch 4K HD TV, exactly like the ones we have in the unit. And let's just say that works too. So you've got a lot of tools that you can use at your disposal, and most of them that I just shared with you don't even cost you any additional money. So depending on how you set things up. So hopefully that helps. Okay. Now let me go here. Oh my goodness. There's a lots of comments coming in and I can see them. My computer didn't freeze, did it? I hope not. All right. I see a couple of questions here. Oh, so this is good. And it looks like a Dave. Let me see if I can bring Dave online. And Dave, how are you doing?
Hey, how you doing? What's going on?
I'm doing pretty good. And yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. I love your...
Well, first of all, where are you calling from?
Oh, this is Davey. David Dolce from Los Angeles. Yeah.
Oh, Dolce.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good so far. So what's going on?
I love your call screening process with the screener and everything. It's awesome.
Is this Davey June?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, got it. Well, it's your fault, man. You said, hey, Jay, and I quote, when are you going to make it possible for those of us with iOS devices? So I went to said, that's a great idea.
I appreciate it.
So here we are.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing that. But I love you got the call screener and everything is professional. It's awesome. It's like a major call-in show now.
We're doing our best. We're doing our best. So see if people want to come and ask a question, we're just trying to make it possible for them to do so.
Very cool. Very cool. I got two things. One is, let me tell you about this situation I have going on with Airbnb right now.
Okay, so this is like active as in today?
Yeah, this is right now. They're messaging me right now on another screen, as I'm talking to you.
He's like, I need real-time advice. All right, bring it.
Yeah. This is pretty crazy. We had somebody booking for 10 days.
Okay.
They booked, and then they wanted to. The person said that they're actually booking for their dad, and they're not going to be there. So we told them. We said, no problem. Please cancel the reservation, and here are the steps for your dad to book with his own Airbnb account. And we're going to have to work with your dad's Airbnb account because we don't do third-party bookings. It's also against the Airbnb policy. And she said, okay, I'm going to call Airbnb and just make sure that they cancel without any penalty, and then my dad can book. I said, okay, no problem. This is all through the inbox thread. Airbnb messages me and says, hey, we have this person who wants to cancel. And I said, do you allow for her to cancel without any penalty? I said, yeah, let her cancel, and she's going to book. And they said, okay, great. We'll tell her to do that, or we'll do it for her. So a couple days go by, and I forget about it. My VAs, they don't create any tickets or anything like that because it wasn't like anything urgent. Either she was going to cancel or she wasn't.
Right.
And she ends up not canceling. And the time comes for her to check in, and it's a no-show. She doesn't show up. And 10 days go by, and my cleaner doesn't tell me that nobody showed up. She just doesn't clean because she sees that nobody actually showed up. But she didn't say, hey, by the way, I have on the calendar someone staying for 10 days. They actually never showed up. So my cleaner never told me. So I look at, once a month, I look at all pending payments on Airbnb. And because you know how they are, like a lot of times, like they won't send like the payment through.
Right.
So once a month, I look at all my pending payouts. I see like I'm missing like a payout of like $1,600. I call Airbnb and they say, that person wanted to cancel and you told her it's okay to cancel, and we tried to cancel for her, but there was a glitch in our system, so it never went through. But you're not going to get paid for this because she never showed up, and we put it down as a cancellation.
Wow.
And I said, okay, let me get this straight. She booked, and she asked if she could cancel. I said, go ahead. She never canceled, and she never showed up, and because it was your fault that your representative didn't cancel it for her, or there's some sort of glitch, I had 10 days blocked off at $1,600 that I'm going to lose. And she basically said, okay, well, I checked with management. We can offer you for your trouble $200.
Okay.
So I wrote to her. I said, please escalate this to somebody else so I can talk to somebody else about this in management. And they said, okay, I'll do that for you. And that's where we are right now.
Wow. Okay. So, wow.
Yeah.
All right. Couple of thoughts. Let me ask some questions. After the cancellation was supposed to occur, did you ever at any time initiate a thread or a conversation with the guest saying, hey, we were told that you were canceling. We noticed that this was still active?
No. What happened was we just messaged her and said, go ahead and cancel. It's okay with us. We'd love for your dad to book. And then she said, I'll do that. And then she never replied back or anything. So all the other correspondence with her were all of our automated messages.
Okay. And when Airbnb reached out to you, did they send a message? Was that phone call or was that via the message center that they like to use?
It was both. It was the message center, and then she said, can I call you? And I said, yeah, and she called me, and I talked to her, and it was one of those, with Airbnb, it's a hit and miss. You either get somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about, they're really rude, or they're really awesome.
Preach it, bro.
Yeah, and this was one of the rude ones.
What's really funny is that, and it seems to be like because they're using representatives from all across the globe, there have been times where I will just keep calling back till I get like someone from Ireland or Canada or the UK, because it just doesn't, it's like, you know what? I'm just going to keep calling back and see what country I get. And then when I know, I was like, all right, cool, we're good. So I feel you. I understand your pain. And so here's what I can tell you that I've done in this situation, because I've had this situation. In our case, what I'm remembering right now is because we were hosting some NFL players, and they were here for camp and all the stuff that they do, preseason. And it was very, very similar. It was like they said they were gonna cancel but didn't. And so the only difference between your situation and what we did is that we continually sent them a message and initiated conversations with Airbnb to say, hey, what do you want us to do? Because I was concerned about not getting paid for days that went blocked. And
he wasn't responding. He was a no-show without responding?
Correct. They stopped responding. There was nothing going on. I'm just like, okay, so what are we going to do? And at the end of the day, what happened I can remember two different cases. One was an NFL player and was a corporate guy on contract. And in both cases, we got paid fully, but I'm pretty sure it was because we were being hyper diligent about following up and making sure it got canceled.
Yeah. See,
that's the only thing that I can point to that would have saved us in that particular situation. Otherwise, we would have had the exact same situation.
Okay.
But and again, I know the frustration, how it feels like a random. It's worse than roulette odds, when it comes to calling their support team, which then gets me to two questions very specifically for you, sir. How many units do you have now?
I've got 40.
And of those 40 units, how many bedrooms? How many bedrooms? 40 units. Are there any 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, stuff like that?
Yeah, there's probably maybe a total of 70 bedrooms.
Okay, perfect. So if you're at the 70 bedroom stage, I'm going to say two things very lovingly, directly, in the spirit of what I like to call carefrontation.
Okay. Something to the effect of don't worry about it, move on, like that?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
The two things, and again, because you've come to our summits, I know you for a while, here's what, the only thing that really, really upsets me about this entire situation is that you were involved. Meaning, your staff should be on the phone with Airbnb. You should not be the one tracking down those pending payments. And if I just said it really clearly to you, the revenue that you're earning, you chasing $1,600 is not worth your personal time. That doesn't mean the organization shouldn't do it,
right?
But it does mean you shouldn't be doing it,
right?
Because I know the amount of time that stuff takes, and fortunately, it's been a while since I had to do it.
Yeah, I know.
And I know that it would help you because the highest and best use of your time is not that. And there's nothing you can tell me that's going to change my mind on that one.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I spend all my time now actually increasing our information in our training manuals, in our SOP, in our we have a company wiki, and all the other things to give more and more and more duties away from me over to the accounting team and the VAs.
And one of those two people should have been the one on the phone.
Right, and this is something that I didn't give to them. This is something that I kept doing once a month, and also I didn't have anything in place for people figuring out if there's no shows or not. That was another mistake.
Oh, seriously? That's interesting. Yeah, so one of our standard SOPs every day. So there's a number of things that happen, but one of our standard SOPs is very simply to through our camera and security system, is that whomever's on duty is to notate when they see them, when they physically see them. We wait until they actually arrive because we want to know that they actually made it in. There's so many manner of reasons. It's great customer service, especially when we can also send them a message at 2 a.m. our time going, hey, we noticed you're not in yet. Everything okay. But at the same time, that's standard operating procedure for us is to make sure that, and the other reason we do that is because, sometimes they say it's one person and it's really 4 people and a cat. And it's we know that you brought the extra people and the cat. So that's actually what prompted the need for that. So now we check all the time. But you should. Okay. That should definitely be one of the SOPs for your staff doing. So that way you don't have this happen again. And that's the lesson that I think that. So while yes, it may have cost you $1,600 or no $1,400 because they're going to give you 2. Woohoo! $1,400.
I'm going to keep hounding them and talking to different people and making my case. So I think they're starting with the 200. What's that?
You're not hearing me at all. Remember, if it wasn't worth it for you, the amount of time that you've invested for this $100, and now you're telling me no, I'm going to keep going after it. You're literally throwing
I know. But while I'm doing that, I'm also going to be making sure that I never have to deal with the situation again.
Well, that's where you should be. That's what you should be focusing on. Is what are the things, what can I do, what systems do we need to put in place to make sure that this never happens again? You've just paid full price for this lesson. And you're literally saying, I've already paid the price and I'm wanting to pay more. I'm like, no, Dave, focus. Let's just put a system in place. I got it. It'll never happen again and move forward. Okay?
I'll put the system in place.
But the principle is wrong. I agree.
Yeah.
But it's
maybe I'll have my VA get back to them.
Now we're thinking.
Yeah.
Yes. If somebody's going to chase it, let them chase it, not you, Mike.
I'm in the stage right now where I've given them so much information, and we've gone over so many new things that I'm letting them kind of just digest all the work that I've been giving them.
Okay, so let me ask this question then. Who is the customer experience team manager? Do you have a customer experience team manager, or are you the manager for the customer experience team?
I am their manager. All three of them started at the same time.
I understand.
90 days ago. And before 90 days ago, I was like in no man's land. I was using a guesty reception. Which was one of the craziest clown shows I've ever been a part of.
Been there.
Like somebody would ask how many beds do you have, and they would answer a Whole Foods is next door. But I went from that to having a good team now. All three of them starting at the same time. All three of them have a lot of experience in short-term rentals.
Well, here, and so hopefully you heard the hint in the question is, again, you need to remove yourself from that stage, that middle piece. They need a manager, and it needs to be someone other than you. Okay? So I'm just trying to be really clear. These are the things that help keep my workload in the short-term rental world down to 1 hour or less per day. That's
and who's it going to be? Where's this person going to emerge from?
For me, I hired that one from Canada, so so that one came from Canada. But my point is, I trained the manager. The manager trains her staff. Period.
And
they write the SOPs. They write.
But you hired the staff as well, right?
Nope. No. The staff is going to be hired by the manager, because when the staff doesn't do what's right, I'm looking to the manager.
Oh.
You hired them. You fired them. You trained them. They didn't do it right. I'm not looking anywhere else. This is your department. Is your
manager also doing the day-to-day activities of what the VA is doing while they're managing?
They started out that way. They don't have to do it anymore, because we actually run a 5-person team. So the 5-person team covers us 24/7 with 1 hour of overlap between shifts. But she started doing it that way, and then we hired the people to then take over that so that she could do the other stuff, like sit on the phone all day with Airbnb customer support to figure out, what happened here?
Yeah. But do you only have one manager?
Yeah, I don't need more than one.
Well, then what happens when an executive decision needs to be made away from her hours?
Executive decision away from her hours. Got it. Great question. And the staff is trained. If there's not a manager, well, actually, no, we have 2 managers now. But let's pretend they're both not working. In that situation, they're trained to let the customer know that, hey, in this particular situation, I will let my manager know. They'll be back in the morning or whenever they're back, and we'll get back to you. It's very simple.
Okay.
I mean, they don't. I mean, yes, people will understand that you can't answer all the questions in 15 seconds or less. But so, and that's really what it comes down to. And then those exceptions get handed off in between shifts, and the manager knows what to pay attention to when they come in the morning or whenever their shift. So,
are all of your VAs given permission to do what they need to do if they need to get a hold of a plumber or something that's going to cost you extra?
Manager. Just the manager only has access to communicate directly to vendors and or landlords.
So what if there's an emergency away from her hours that can't
What
wait?
kind of? So you're talking about like what kind of emergency? It depends on the emergency now.
Plumbing
Okay, so
emergency.
you're talking about the quarterly
I get a lot
they
of
have
those.
the information for that.
They do. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Solve the problem, please.
So they're
notify the manager.
they're empowered. They're empowered to do like whatever it takes based upon the phone numbers of the plumbers and all the different people that you have for like emergency situations.
I wouldn't call it whatever they takes because we have an SOP for that. Dude, I got an SOP for everything.
Yeah.
Like there's literally anytime something happens, we have an SOP for it. Like I just had
That's
a
what I'm
situation.
trying to do.
But understand, I didn't build the SOP. I had the person who's responsible for resolving the issue build the SOP, because when we encounter something new, build an SOP so that the next time someone further down the chain can actually know what to do. And that's what we've consistently done and have done. We just ran into our first situation with bed bugs. 7,100 guests later, and we finally had the issue. And now we have an SOP for it.
Yeah, I've had that.
Yeah, but I didn't until like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, okay, now we got one. And that's just how it goes. So that's really where I'm coming from. Does that make sense, friend?
Yeah. I really appreciate that. Do we have time to just go real quickly into 30 days for Los Angeles, 30-day minimums for Los Angeles? Is there time for that?
I would love to do that, but let's just say that there are no less than 10, maybe even 15 questions that have come in that I now have to get to, my friend.
Okay, yeah, go for it. All right, well, thank you so much.
I want to help. Yes, what's that?
I said thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I've got to get a manager involved over here, and so I can like reduce my Xanax. I appreciate it.
Yes, your psychologist will thank me later, or maybe not.
Yeah.
Down. I have no idea. Either way, it's something you should look at. Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for calling in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to have a chat, feel free to dial 417-352-2274. In the meantime, I've got a question from, it looks like Masab on Facebook. I'm hoping I'm saying your name right. If not, I am sorry. It says, "Hi, Jay. I'm fresh and willing to go out there and start." That's good. But my fear and not being sure of where to begin stops me. Bought a couple of your programs, so I'll do those first. So question, where do I begin? Got it. Great question, and I'm glad you've taken some action. So, Masab, I'm assuming you've purchased the Mastermind product. If you purchase the Mastermind product, two things are going to happen for you. All of our Mastermind students have a 6-hour kickstart with me personally. So we get together, usually on a Saturday, in the morning, 6 a.m. Pacific time, and we do that once a month. And we go over, like, do this. For those that can't wait, that's why we provide you the materials ahead of time, kind of as your homework. But here's the most important thing. You need to decide whom do you want, keywords, to serve. And you need to not who's going to make the most money, what property do I need. Those are all the absolute wrong, incorrect first questions. The only question that matters is, who do you want to serve? And you're also the only one that can answer that. And then once that's answered, all the other questions that feel overwhelming, where you get stuck, do I need a TV? How many TVs? What size bed? What color does it need to be? Do I need a 1-bedroom studio? What about near the airport? All that stuff gets answered there. So thanks for asking the question, and I definitely appreciate you taking the time. Okay. Hey, Bobby, look who it is. So, interestingly, my brother decided to chime in today. Hey, bro, what if I can't find a management company for one condo and it's out of town? Would you recommend? Oh, geez. Okay, got it. So, interestingly, I'm actually so you guys wonder, do I pull punches and whatnot? What would you tell your family if you were giving them advice? Well, here you go. All right, so first of all, remote management is challenging, as you already know. And I have a hard time without having someone on the ground and shelling out money for repairs and things of that nature, because I've been in situations where people have embezzled significant amounts of funds. And so you need a cash management. If you're going to do it remotely, you must have a cash management procedure in place to make sure that no money gets released without, and a way to verify that that the work has actually been done. Now I'm typing to see if there used to be a company that I knew that that would actually go verify work, because that's really what part of the challenge with doing the repairs is that the contractor says, hey, I need more money for this and that and this and that, and you don't really know, and you can't always go to find it out, and etc. And that's when cost overruns and things of like that nature happen. So what I'm going to encourage you strongly to do is to find someone who can be your eyes and ears and is willing to consistently go over to the actual job site as many times as it takes to make sure that people are actually doing what they say they're going to do. Now,
hello there, entrepreneur. This is Jay Massey, and what I want to say to you is that the number one mistake that I have ever made in business, number one, has been waiting too long to do the books, waiting too long to get the bookkeepers, the accountants, the CPAs, the CFOs involved, and I don't want you to make that same mistake. That mistake cost me over six figures, and now for a significant discount, you have the ability to get your books together using FreshBooks. So what I want you to do is I want you to go over to gofreshbooks.com/cashflow diary. Again, that's gofreshbooks.com/cashflow diary. FreshBooks is the easy to use software designed to help you, the small business owner, the freelancer, get organized and save time on invoicing, getting paid faster, keeping those books in order so that it becomes a bonus for you to do your taxes as opposed to a burden. Go over to gofreshbooks.com/cashflow diary and get started today. And now let's get back to the rest of the story.
If you can get that, the second thing is making sure that they don't, it's like what happens when you go to the auto repair shop. Make sure they don't sell you more than you need. I mean, do you really need to change the brakes? Like, come on, you know, and you need to find that out. So those are the two areas that that are the challenge. So if you can find an actual landlord in the area who is willing to run point for you, preferably someone who does rehabs, but a landlord for sure, then that will assist you. You can look at your local real estate investors association. Those are usually found online and or on meetup.com. Hopefully that helps. And if not, call me. I'm going to assume, depending on what geographic area you're in, I probably know somebody who can help you out. All right. Now, the rest of y'all can't call me because, see, you don't have my number. But you can, well, actually, that's not true. You can call me right now because I have 417-352-2274. That's the number you have. That's the number you can call. So hopefully that helps. All right, let me go into the Facebook group real fast and knock these out. David Patrick, I see your question. Just hold on just 1 second. Whew. All right, so what is this? Tiffany, Nicole, Keisha, thanks, Susan. I wonder. I'm scrolling. Sarah Kingston is asking, if a guest leaves a review, but you haven't reviewed them yet, can the rest of the world see their review even though you can't? Not yet, but it will eventually, and I'm assuming if you're talking about Airbnb, they can't see it, nothing is public until both of you have reviewed or 14 days has expired, whichever happens first. So even if you don't leave a review, eventually their review will be public in 14 days. Latasha, hello. So let me see. Latasha says, is the metrics you showed in SmartBnB during the data analytics training available to the public, or is this something that SmartBnB will make available in the near future? You have, if you've gone, so with SmartBnB, that's a tool that we use. One of the major reasons I fell in love with them is because of their ability for data and metrics. And for those of you who were on that training, you saw how to use data and metrics to leverage for higher revenue. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense. Okay. So if you have their subscription already, then it should be inside your account, especially if you used our link. Again, that was, what was that? Cashflowdiary.com/manage messaging. Cashflowdiary.com/manage messaging. Use that to sign up. And if for some reason you still don't have metrics available, either send us a message or just send them a message directly, and they should be able to take care of it. All right, Lavina, hello, Jay. Looks like the slow season is coming. Any update of Airbnb refreshing our listing in order to keep it higher viewing rate? Got it. So there's a couple of things, and I kind of hinted at this in the title of the stream today, is for a number of you, depending on where you are geographically, you're in a situation in which, well, there's travel season is changing. What people are willing to pay is changing. And you need to be paying attention to it. You need to be paying attention to things like your early versus late. How far out in advance are people booking? That should be affecting your discount curve, what your pricing needs to look like. All of those things need to be adjusted because you in order to hit your occupancy numbers or revenue numbers, RevPAR specifically, you're going to need to adjust towards the market, which means you may be discounting sooner than you want. You may be starting at a lower number than you want. And just because you're starting at all of those other lower numbers, it doesn't mean you have to sacrifice profit. What it does mean, and for those of you that are students, you understand this already, what it does mean is that you have to find additional lines of income, additional lines of revenue. I hinted at some of them when I was talking to Keisha earlier about how to sell a second parking spot and how to sell two-tier internet, etc. And those are the things that you must have in place. Anytime you have an occupancy challenge or some sort of restriction. So for those of you in a 30-day market, this also applies to the exact same way. Okay. Ooh, so many questions. All right, guys. Let's see. I'm getting to them. Let me see. What is this? Ladero says #free TV. You like that one, Ladero? Anyway, so happy I am on here to hear this. This is helpful. What about Whole Foods gift card? Love the parking spot idea. Whole Foods gift card is fine, but let's go for something that they're more likely to use. And Robert came up with this one when he and I were, when I was developing the idea and talking to him about it. He's like, you know what I think would work? And I was like, what? He's like, how about you give them an Uber credits? I was like, oh, that makes all kinds of sense because they're likely to need and or want transportation, right? So even if it's only even if all they do is use it for airport transfer to get to your location, it's like, that's not a bad idea. So that's definitely on the list. And students, for those of you, just know that I'm already working on an entire list of how to put some of these things together for you guys so that you can have them at your disposal. All right. John Williams, our 30-day insurance booking, turned into them asking for another month just as you predicted. John, I'm telling you, love these insurance deals. In this situation, they are submitting our invoices to their insurance company for reimbursement. Okay. I would rather get paid up front and have them get their check from the insurance company. However, guest needs the insurance payment to be able to pay you. How do you suggest we handle that situation? I suggest you get paid up front. That's literally it. There is no other option. Let me see. Yeah, no, there's no other option. So in 100% of the insurance cases, that payment needs to be to you. Otherwise, they need to be gone. Period. Never once do you give access or housing to someone without paying. Just no, and no. I understand it's a tough situation, and I also understand that they can work it out. Almost every insurance company or insurance deal, they have a credit card that they can use, that they could give you. There's a way to make it happen. And if the insured gets on the phone and gets enrolled in the process and begins to understand that they're about to be on the street, they'll figure it out. $200 mine. No, oh, he's laughing. Okay, got it. Whole Foods is next door. No doubt. That wasn't right. What role, duty is VA your team? Can you draw them in the paper? I think I explained that one, Lorena, already, so I'm going to keep going. What's an SOP? Mike, an SOP is a standard operating procedure. Standard operating procedure. I apologize if you did not grow up in a military world. I did. So SOP are things that, well, I just knew. And yes, I also say things like 1,600 hours or 1,700 hours, meaning I'm referring to the time. But that's a whole nother story. Della, yes, there she goes. Standard operating procedure. Audio is excellent today all around. Thank you, John. And for those of you who have not been here before, you have no idea how much we have worked for this. John, ask a hard money company who they use for inspections before releasing funds. That's a good one too. So, Geometrist, ask a hard money company who they're using for inspections before releasing funds. That person would know for sure. We are nervous. No one has even inquired in a month. Okay, so Mike, if you are, so this is one of the reasons, one of the ways to begin to diagnose issues is you have to start at the beginning of the equation. Okay, so here's what I mean. This is the equation. Let me show you guys one more time. So it's leads times customers times margin times frequency equals growth potential. When you feel like your business is having some challenges, you have to start asking yourself the questions related to each of those. So you're saying no one's inquired. So that's a lead issue. Okay. And now I'm assuming I'm taking you at your word and taking you at the fact that you have data that backs up the fact that no one, as in zero, has inquired. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, to always remember is that when you are in your first year at a particular location, it is typically going to be your worst year in a new location. So meaning like a new city or new something, because you've never had August, September in that year, in that location before, and that totally makes all kinds of differences. So with that being said, if no one's inquired, the things that I begin to check booking settings. First of all, there have been so many times where I have put a minimum stay requirement and I've put them backwards, where I may say, hey, so I may have intended something like 35 days from today. In order to make a reservation, it's a 7-day minimum. And instead of doing that, what I did was from today and for the next 35 days, if anyone tries to make a reservation, it has to be a 7-day minimum, when I've totally done that backwards. So before. So that's number one to understand. If you have a leads issue, I start checking my booking settings. I also check the listings. I also start checking the photos. I also check cancellation procedures. All of those things are things that I begin checking on the existing platforms. If I'm only on one platform, I start thinking about maybe I want to be on a second. But ultimately, especially if you're in a 30-day market, one of the things that you better be doing is developing relationships outside of the OTAs. Because if you're not, that could be a challenge for you. For example, Mike, you've heard John and I talking today about insurance. And if insurance, if you haven't done an insurance deal, you probably should, because I think obviously it would help you tremendously to be able to do an insurance deal, because those insurance deals, they pay very well and they stay a while. Okay, so that's one of the things. Also, construction companies would be another place to look. Trade schools would be another place to look. You have a number of places. I just don't know what relationships you have. And if you don't have any of those relationships, or you're just starting out, as I've consistently said, I'll say one more time, go find a BNI chapter somewhere near you and start there for sure. Okay. Let me see. How often should I be checking pricing? Am I supposed to be manually adjust pricing daily? Got it. So for a 30-day situation, I don't know that daily, Mike, is going to matter, to be honest, because it's a 30-day situation, right? So it's more about making sure that you are priced appropriately from the beginning and understanding the platform that you're on. Meaning, if you're on Airbnb, how you display your pricing, your published rate is going to be different than what needs to be on Booking.com, because the way those two engines work are completely different. And you need to understand that so that you're priced appropriately for the market and demographic that you're looking to attract. Jay doesn't like to watch horror stuff. You are absolutely correct. Della, Aaron Havens, I'm having a really hard time navigating the education. I already operate 8 units before joining the network, so I'm very familiar with SDRs in general. I've looked through the education and Facebook units. Where can I find info on hiring VAs and outsourcing, managing, and fee collection? Where can I find info on 2-tier internet, setting up Smart B&B? We have it set up, but I'd like to review. Interesting. Okay, got it. So, Aaron, I love it when someone who has experience comes in, and you, well, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to challenge you in your experience to still start at the beginning, because a lot of what you're referring to right here, first of all, whether it's hiring VAs or outsourcing messaging, because if you're asking me outsourcing messaging and you're also saying that you set up Smart B&B, that tells me something went awry from the beginning. All right. So here's, and I'm going to say it this way. You have the ingredients. Now it's time to learn the recipe. And you've made an investment. You said 8 units. So you've made an investment this far. I'm assuming you want to get to the 7-figure level or more, which is great. Awesome. Join us. It's what we do. And start at the beginning, because I would challenge the assumption that there's not something correct on the foundation. I know you want to jump to the end. Everybody wants to do the flying back kick from the beginning, but now it's time to paint the fence, wax the car. All right. No one likes to hear that. And in fact, we've had people go, well, that's it. Then I'm just going to refund. Great. No problem. Doesn't bother me. What I care about is long-term correct business building success. Giving you, it's the best, most responsible answer I can give. Okay. Now, when it comes to setting up Smart B&B and the messages, we have those as templates. Those are there. Hiring the VAs starts with understanding even how to run the system. Like if you have 8 units, I find that interesting. Anyway, depending on how many units you have, if you're running a good system, you actually don't need VAs yet, because there shouldn't be much for you to do. And if there is a lot for you to do, and you think VAs are the answer, there's something fundamentally before Smart B&B that's missing, and how the business was set up. Anyway, Aaron, we can argue this all day. At the end of the day, what you're going to want to do is look at the later modules inside the mastermind product, and just look at the later modules inside the mastermind product. Because inside the mastermind product, there's 2 things. There's one that's what's called the dashboard, and I don't know if you've got the mastermind product, then I just don't remember you showing up to the kickstart with me, and maybe you did. I just don't remember the name right now. And I showed you what is called the dashboard. There's 2 columns. There's the column that is called processes. It's basically your business building materials. Because I know, and having done this with thousands of people, tens of thousands, anyway, a lot. We literally built a process on how to build your company from scratch. And it's an entire checklist. And we go over it during the Kickstart. So, and if you haven't had your Kickstart yet, then okay, cool, that's fine. I'll see you. I don't even know what Saturday it's coming out. That'll be great. And start at the beginning. Okay. Let me go back over here. Let me see some more questions. What is this? Okay, we've got David Patrick had a question. Where did it go? I lost it. Okay, there we go. What are some tips to make it through the upcoming slow season? Okay, clearly we have a theme today. So, David, again, not knowing where you are geographically, I'm just going to assume you're in some place where summer is a nice place to be and not punishing, like Arizona. And winters are, maybe not so bad, but also not punishing. Like, I don't know, the first thing that came to mind was Canada, Minnesota, places where animals freeze outside. So I'm assuming it's someplace like that. And I've said a number of things today. Specifically, part of the things to understand when it comes to low season is understanding that your expectations of where your revenue comes from needs to be adjusted. Even if it's something as simple as where your leads come from. So back to the equation. Let me pull the equation up one more time. Back to the equation. This is a leads, customers, margin, frequency question. So when it comes down to it, do you need more lead sources right now? Do you need more customers? Do you have enough inquiries? And are you just not converting them? Are you even measuring that conversion? What is your revenue per reservation? That's a good question. Like, are you selling any additional services? And if so, what and at what frequency? And then frequency. Who's been in your listing before, in that area before? Who can you get to come back again? What tools, if any, do you have to bring them back? If you don't have these things, not having them, that's your clue of what you need to do, what needs to be built in order to make that work. So hopefully that makes some sense. And let me see. Geometry says he can't find anyone, and it's in Tampa. Now, I'm going to make an assumption, Poppy, that even right now, as I'm sitting right here, there's someone from Tampa who's already willing to help him. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. Natasha, where in Tampa can I check for you? My point exactly. What is the Facebook group? We have a number of Facebook groups, Kit. So there's what we call our public group. Anyone's free to join. And then we have our student group for those who have made the commitment, want to follow the system, and not just have the ingredients, but the entire recipe. That's where, actually, it's where I spend a lot of my time answering their questions and making sure that happens. So actually, it's Tallahassee. Okay, cool. Tallahassee, fine. I'm sure there's got to be someone in Tallahassee still there as well. But Kit, if you just look up a short-term rental Cashflow Diary on Facebook, you'll probably find us. Student housing, even better. Davey, oh, nice. Thanks, Davey. I appreciate that. Most informative session so far. Okay, I was wondering where this was. So we have another question here from Daniel. I was like, where are they? Because I had told them that I was going to answer this question today on the Q&A. So Daniel, thanks for chiming in. Thanks for being here and reminding me by asking the question. So Daniel's asking, can you take advantage of cost segregation depreciation when doing nightly rental arbitration? Got it. All right. So the answer is it depends. So Daniel, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor right now. If you're still watching, do me a favor, call this number because I've got some questions for you because I want to answer this. But call this number, 417-352-2274. I'll be looking over here and they'll let me know when you get on the line because I want to ask you some more questions about this as we go deeper. And then let's see, what is this? David Patrick says, you're in Atlanta, the hot Atlanta. That's awesome. I like Atlanta a lot. Darius is in Buffalo. Also, David is saying, thanks for NPP. That changed the game for us. You're welcome. For those of you wondering what he's referring to, it's No Pride Pricing. It's a course that we put out because of things like flow season, helping people to understand how to price their units so that they are actually able to make it happen and go that way. So that would be great. Someone is here. I'm assuming that's Daniel. Let's find out. I have unmute. Daniel, is that you?
No, this is Peter.
Okay, Peter. Oh, hey, Peter. Is this Peter like Peter in Washington, Peter?
Yeah, Peter in Washington. I don't even know how I got ahead of Daniel.
Well, because I had just I said, Daniel, call in and
right.
And so I thought that was Daniel. Okay.
Okay. I apologize, Daniel, but I do have a question.
Go for it.
You may have noticed I haven't been in the group as often as I have been in the past. I've been kind of bogged down with
right.
Huh? No. I've been
right now.
Been doing No. I've been working on these 2 units.
Oh,
2 new units. So, but that's been quite a learning experience. So we will get into that later. But I'll be going live this week with my second, probably next week with my third. But my question pertains to the landlord in this new unit has other units coming available, and we know that we want more units. So, my question is, around the negotiations process for acquiring additional units. I know how to go and get the unit, right? But what factors differ in the negotiation process for additional units? Where does
that we're clear? So that we're clear, you're talking about additional units from the exact same landlord that you already got units from.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So
he wants to give me more units. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I get that, and this happens. Anyone who's following the system, a few months in, the landlord comes back and says, "Hey, I got another building. I got another unit. I got a friend." Happens all the time.
Right.
Quite normal.
I'm not even live yet, and he's doing that. So
yeah, I got.
He likes what he sees already. So it's great.
Exactly, because we don't meet their expectations. There are people out there who are literally training and teaching people. And again, I have nothing wrong with flea markets and Craigslist and all this other stuff, but if you're trying to build a repeatable, scalable system, you need to really think about the impression you're giving, not just to the guest, but also to the landlord. So that, at the end of the day, we can drive business long term. Okay, so now with that being said, there's a reason he or she is already offering you more locations. There's a reason. It's because you solve a problem. The problem that you're solving is vacancy, right? They don't have to go find that tenant. There's usually there's less hassle when we're there because they don't have the same maintenance things to be concerned about. They don't get called anywhere near as often. I mean, there are just all these other things that we bring to the table that normally just doesn't happen for them. Right. I mean, we can become some of the longest term tenants, and the property is taken such great care because we have to. Now, you need to be really aware of the problems that you are taking off the table. And if you're saying what differs, well, what differs is where have you experienced frustrations in the past? That's the easiest way I can get you to think about it. So if you think about typically, if you've experienced frustrations in the past with landlords, where have they been, Peter?
Right. Well, I've already experienced frustrations with him, but they revolve around me not executing the system. The walkthrough was sort of botched.
Hold on.
So repairs
for them because you didn't do what you were supposed to do.
Yep.
I appreciate you being willing to admit that.
I gotta be frank. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah. That's commendable, and I love it. So with that being said, go ahead.
And so additionally, so here's the thing. The location is such that it's 2 miles from the airport. It's 2 miles from SeaTac Airport. So it's ideal for the business traveler. They're 2-bedroom units, and they're coming online because he's renovating them 100%. He's putting brand new everything in these units. Okay. So they look great. And but there are some challenges with the neighborhood, right? And the other tenants that are slowly moving out, that sort of thing. So it's sort of it's a business travel area because right across the street is light rail. Down within a block is a hotel and hotels for the airport and whatnot. So there's a hybrid. There's a hood executive mix, if that makes any sense. So
yeah, no, I totally understand where you're going from. That the rail stations tend to go to I'll say the places where I grew up first too, because that's where the cheap land or the cheaper land is at the beginning, and then slowly over time things transition.
I hear you.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I have two questions for you then. One, how many units does this building have?
Shucks. That I don't know for. So he has two buildings, and they're adjacent. Let me see. I can look out the window and see if I can count really quick on one building.
Okay. And really what's more important is, do you eventually want to own this building?
I would not mind. I would not mind. I don't know that that's where he wants to go. So one of the things I wanted to interject in the question is, so I know in real estate, you're solving the problem, so you have to find out what his problem is, right? And why is he selling in real estate, right?
Right.
So how does that translate to STRs, I guess?
Well, that's really where it comes down to. There's a reason he's doing the rehabs that he's doing. He's not doing it for fun. Well, maybe. I doubt it. I'm assuming some of it, there's a profit motive there. And one of the things that I'm asking you is about your long-term play, because remember, this is a three-phase business. Phase 1 is get 1. Phase 2 is get like 10 to 20. And then once you have the number of units that you need, you should transition into actually owning the real estate. So what I'm fast forwarding for you is I'm trying to put you in a position, or give you the words to put you in a position to actually begin to leverage what you are bringing to the table as a benefit. So because if you want property, now is the time to begin angling for, it's like, hey, Frank, again, I made up his name. Hey, Frank, what it comes down to is I have no problem getting additional units. However, here's my concern. My concern is the neighborhood. My concern is this. My concern is this. These are the things that I've experienced with you thus far. Now, some of that's my fault, and I can take full responsibility for this. But going forward, here's what I need. I need this, I need this, and I need this. Because ultimately, what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to purchase this building. So if it's okay with you, I would like to begin to put a first right of refusal in our leases so that I could also be in position and be ready in about 24 to 36 months to actually buy the building from you at whatever the fair market value is at that time. So to be clear, I still want you to...
Are you going to charge me later for this?
What's that?
Are you going to charge me later for this? Are you going to charge me later for this? Wow.
Charge? Who am I going to charge you? Stop. You're here. I'm just answering the question. But this is what you're asking. Okay. And what I am saying is this is how you do it.
Yes. Okay. That's exactly what I want to know. Okay.
Now, the real question is, you know what? I will charge you. When I find out if you didn't do it, now I'm charging you. Go do it, and it's free.
All right. Okay. I got it.
Cool.
I got it. That's plenty. That's plenty.
Excellent. Cool.
Yes,
well,
sir.
I got it. I got another caller. I'm going to head. I think it's Daniel because I really want to talk to him about this cost segger stuff. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me just compliment you quickly on your background and what you've done with your set there. It's coming along quite nice. Now o'clock. I love it, man. I love it.
Yes, I know, right? Isn't that great?
Yep.
Like, so totally had that made. Totally had that made. I can't wait for you guys to see the rest of this wall, and that wall, and definitely that wall, because it's all kinds of hot up in here. I'm excited about it, and we're doing our best to bring you guys the quality information in a quality way that's worth listening to. So we're doing what we can.
Thanks for your time, Jack.
No problem. Let's get over to Daniel, and let's find out what's going on with this whole cost segregation. Daniel, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can indeed. How are you, sir?
Dude, I'm well, man. Long time no talk.
Right?
Yeah, it's good to hear from you again.
You watch each other's videos and just go, okay, he's still alive. Anyway, nice. So help me understand more of because you're asking cost segregation very specifically, and I know your real estate experience is vast. So there's a reason you're asking it, and I'm trying to really understand what is the problem that you're trying to actually address.
Yeah, so I was having a conversation with my CPA and my tax professional, and right now I do have a nightly rental property, but I do own it. So I approached it with owning the building, but I was curious because that's what started the conversation with myself and Steve, my tax professional. in terms of what tax benefits does nightly rentals bring that, is typically, is typically not as, extravagant, I guess, so to speak, in the regular real estate investing world. And the question that myself and a good friend of mine that we thought of while we were discussing this and masterminding a little bit was, well, do you still get tax advantages with furnishing? Because when you control a particular unit or a property, I'm sure you still expend capital on furnishings and whatnot. So I guess it's not specifically cost segregation, but it's more so referring to the actual tax advantages of controlling that property rather than owning it.
Got it. So, all right, one, we always, standard disclosure for everyone else, not you, Daniel, because I know you know, but I'm no one's tax professional, okay, at any stage of any manner. I'm not even trying to pretend. I don't even play one on TV. However, here's what I will say. It depends on how that FF&E is acquired. So understand, so much of the FF&E it can become a direct write-off, period. So let's start there. So much of it is that very little of it needs to even be capitalized if necessary. And if some students, depending on where they are and how they start up, if they're trying to preserve capital so that they can expand their footprint, we often recommend that they start by leasing the furniture as opposed to actually owning the furniture. Now, typically, though, the leases that we tell them to get usually have a buyout provision in them, so that maybe 18 months later, what they can do is they can buy out the remainder of the lease, and then at that time, now you have this. But as far as cost seg goes, I'm going to say two things. One, the study would probably cost you more, especially if you're not owning the property. The study would probably cost you more than the actual benefit until you get to something like a 20 room, 40, somewhere in it'd probably take about 20 rooms. If you were doing 20 rooms in one, like 20 rooms in one building at a time, now it's probably worth it to you. But for the most part, between just the depreciation tables, and you get there's so much bonus depreciation still on the table right now for a lot of the equipment that we have to purchase, that it's like, that's way better than putting them on their separate schedules, and doing that has been where I've gone. But you bring up the opposite of that point is, and this is why I tell people it's a three-phase system, is because the one downside of this whole thing is it produces a significant amount of free cash flow that you will have a tax problem unless you have a plan, which is why phase 3 is all about helping individuals to acquire, I say investments, because honestly, I'm asset agnostic. I don't really care what they choose to invest in. However, a significant portion of that should be real estate, in my opinion, because of the offsetting benefits that you can now have from, your Section 179 stuff and cost seg, depending on the size of the building or what it is that you're doing, because you need something to offset that capital. Otherwise, you're going to end up, offset that cash flow. Otherwise, you're going to end up just paying Uncle Sam, and no one wants to do more than their fair share. But I get you, and there's not a whole lot available, mostly because it depends on how you got started and what you're doing. And to be quite honest, it is. I think the study would cost you more than the benefits you would actually get.
Wow, cool, fair enough. Yeah, and absolutely, it's a very cash flow heavy business. So, completely agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, you're ending up. So, and that was like one of the things that I realized. Fortunately, because we have the real estate experience and we've had the experience in the past, being able to control our adjusted gross income has been a blessing. In order to make sure we can keep more of what it is that we work for. So I hear you 100%, and it's a very valid question. But I think the better way to address it, in my opinion, is to take that down payment that you were going to put in on a property, turn that entire down payment into as many short-term rentals as you possibly can, and then leverage that cash flow to replenish the down payment reserves that you had, and either then do it again or then buy that property, because now you end up in the situation where you have your short-term rentals producing enough cash for you to keep buying properties. And because you're buying properties, you're offsetting the income that you're literally eating and living on at the same time. So you can put yourself in a at least federally, in a no taxable situation relatively quickly.
Very nice. Cool, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
No problem. Anytime. I like doing it, and thanks for continuing to produce good content. So the world needs more of it.
That's right.
All right,
on, brother.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got Ricardo Montez. I know you've operated as an S Corp, hypothetically speaking. I love it. You guys get it. Do you operate all your short-term rentals under that one entity? Yes. That is exactly how we currently do it. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm going to do one more sweep inside the Facebook group and see what we've got for questions, and we will be ending soon. So if you've got a question, now's the time. Dial quickly. Let me see where to go. Well, is it scrolling? Okay, so sorry. It took me a second. Facebook was hiding some of the questions from me. There it is. Mike says, do I set up Lodgify or Wheelhouse so I can set up my own website for direct bookings? We are currently using Lodgify for that. And since I'm going to have to get revenue coming from other places besides Airbnb and HomeAway, yes. And whatever happened to Booking.com, Mike? I think that was one of the recommendations I said. That should be hopefully something good for you too. Reach out to Brandon. Yes, exactly. Is he in the? Yes, he is. Karen is here. How are you, Mike? What are the boundaries of the landlord showing up at the unit unannounced? There should never be a situation in which your landlord shows up at the unit unannounced, ever, unless it's on fire or there's a flood. Also, as maybe a carbon monoxide, a death. Those are the only things that I can think of. Well, maybe if you like live where there's tornadoes, like if something of that nature. But at there, no. Hey, I'm sorry, Mike. That's just no. So hopefully that makes sense. Preston, what's up, Preston? Long time no talk. Says my lawyer suggested a business type series LLC. It seems perfect for my personal needs around short-term rentals. Yeah, that's cool. If that's what they say, like I've always said, do whatever your attorney says. I mean, that's what you paid them for, right? And I'm definitely not that. So anyway, I think there was something I was supposed to announce. Hold on 1 second. I forgot. And I think Dave sent me some messages. So I don't know what that is. Apparently, on Wednesday, September 4th, oh, got it. I see. Sorry, I literally hot off the press type of thing. So apparently, here's what's going on is that we are doing a presentation. It's not a Q&A training. It's hosted by me, and it's only about the mastermind. So they're coming. Okay, got it. So many of you today probably had questions. You've heard me mention and reference our mastermind in various different ways, whether that was, I believe his name was Alex, talking about how to find the process for hiring people, firing people, job descriptions, all that other stuff. And I was telling him about the dashboard, or if it was about how to get started and making sure that you had the information you need for what to do first. All of those things are things that we cover in some of our basic trainings, and you've heard me also mention the quick start, where our newest students get to start specifically with me, and it's about 6 hours, where I make sure that you get started on the correct foot for your geographic area, and we've gotten students started all over the globe, from Zurich to Canada to parts of Africa to Australia, and obviously the United States and South America. No matter where you are, we've been able to help people get started. And if you want to find out more specifically about the Mastermind, what that program is, was that September 4th, at 11 a.m. Dave is going to be there. He's the Chief Marketing Officer. He's also been practicing the strategy and understands exactly what we do and has been able to help a significant portion of our students just understand who we are and what we're doing. You can go over to cashflowdiary.com/teach me. Cashflowdiary.com/teach me to register, and more details will be there. All right. And I see, what is this? Tariq, I believe is the name. I think I said it right, and if I didn't, I apologize. So this will be the last question of the day. Tariq Hassan? I think I said it right. I don't know, I'm trying. Just wondering, is it okay to take a lease in your name and not your company name if you have shops and restaurants in the building? Got it. That part about if you have shops or restaurants in the building, I'm not sure how that plays into your particular question or why that would make a difference. However, that is definitely, doing business in your personal name is not something that my attorney or myself or anyone that I have ever seen would necessarily suggest, especially when you're working a public-facing business. Well, honestly, any business, because the liability is massive, for lack of a better way of putting it. So our leases go into the entity name. The entity name is what gets the insurance. Everything is done under the corporation or corporations or Series LLC or whatever your attorney has recommended, because and not because we're not like trying to hide or anything, just trying to protect you, because you never know when and again, a slip and fall of and anything, like anything, having housed people for more than a decade. So I just want you to sit with that for a second. That is real estate and strategies around it have been my profession for quite some time. I've had people shoot other people in the unit, like literally with a gun. I've had people. I've heard of buildings actually getting struck by lightning, which is interesting. Yes, people have slipped. Yes, there have been accidents on our property. One time where the police actually was chasing somebody else. They ran across our property and knocked down our fence. That was interesting. I've had fires, obviously, in that time where kids were left at home by themselves and fire broke out. I've had an entire building burned down. That was interesting, as well. And we've even had tenants die. In this particular case, it was someone's child who had passed away. Here's my point in saying all of those things. Even if, just please understand this, even if you are not guilty, you still have to pay for the defense, okay? And having insurance in place is one of the things I've always called it. I call it prepaid legal defense. Not like prepaid legal the company, but it's prepaid legal defense, meaning it's literally you prepaying at that time. Because if you have, say, $1 million policy, that insurance company is who is on the hook at that moment, right? And if that insurance company has more money and more resources, has better attorneys to defend their $1 million, because they don't want to pay any more out than they have to, and you're their insured in that case. And having that layer of protection makes all the sense in the world. And I like having multiple layers of protection. Growing up in the military household and just learning business, 1 is none, 2 is done. So if you, A, happen to exhaust the limits of insurance, because the claim is just that huge, then you still have to get through the corporation in order to get to anything that we have been building and protecting and trying to have for the family. That's why you're in business in the first place. It's because there's a lifestyle, there's a quality of life, there's something that you wanted that you were not previously getting from however you were creating value in the marketplace. And to not protect that as you continue to build seems, the Bible would call that foolish for sure, because you should, because not everyone has your good intentions, right? And you just need to know that. And you don't have to like it, because you probably won't, but that's definitely a part of it. Anyway, we're glad that you guys took the time to hang out with us today. For those of you that called in, totally appreciate you for doing so, because it's more fun when there's more of you to talk to. That's all I've got to say about that. And when there's more of you to talk to, I get a little bit more excited. I feel like sharing a little bit more, and oftentimes we'll do exactly that. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun talking to you guys today. I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Until next time.